Hey guys, what's going on? So, a couple of days ago, when was this? The 19th. Today would be the 25th. Quite some time ago, they dropped the idea that in 26.2, they are going to change a little bit more. So 26.1 was like, we're going to change death waves with mana, and now they're going to change the upgrade system. And that is essentially what they're doing. It's I don't know how to feel about it. So, they originally posted this in the Discord, and I saw it, obviously. I didn't want to talk about it because I didn't know any of the things, and I knew that a lot of people were just going to ask me questions that I couldn't answer, and things like, yeah, but like, what does that mean? And I'd just be like, I just read it. I don't know anything beyond what I just read. And then they'd ask me like, oh, when does it drop? And I don't know. I never know when any update is going to drop, ever. So if I get that comment in the comment section, you'll know that somebody didn't watch a minute and 15 seconds of this video. They were like, the length of the total amount of this video is too long. I'm not gonna watch more than 1 minute and 15 seconds of this video. Because I don't know. I don't know when any update is ever going to drop. Whenever they announce things, it's usually the time frame that I usually give myself is when they do a big like main update post like this one. Once they talk about all of these things, that's basically it's imminent, right? But like when they drop this, it's not going to be for a while, because until they start talking about these three main things in subsequent posts, like I'm going to go into, then they're not going to drop it. So we're getting close to, I believe we're getting close. I think there's one more post, and then it'll probably be sooner than when they posted this. But anyway, so a lot of this was nonsense. The process of upgrading units up to level 11 has been significantly faster, which we all kind of assumed. But most people, I think there's a large quantity of new players in this game that if they stupidly decided to upgrade legendaries that are not in their deck, and I say stupidly because this game is giving you no reason to want to upgrade anything. The people that are upgrading from level 7 to level, I don't know, 10, 7, 8, 9. 7 is your base level legendary, and then you only need 2 to upgrade it to 8, and then you only need 4 to upgrade it to 9. That is really easy, and it's obviously much easier now than what it was before. But now they have now realized, I don't know how they just realized this. We were all complaining when Book of Secrets was taken out. The process of upgrading units above level 11 is slower than expected. We did not take into account the Book of Secrets remaining in circulation. They didn't take into account that every 2 months you had the ability to upgrade any unit from any level to any other level. They didn't think that would have any impact whatsoever, taking out the Book of Secrets. They didn't read all of the comments when everybody was very afraid about having the Book of Secrets being taken out, when every single question on every single post was, how will we get Books of Secrets? They didn't realize how important Book of Secrets was when everybody was asking, how are we going to get new pages? When are you going to implement it back? Are you going to implement it back? Are Star Coin's Book of Secrets? Like, they didn't take into account any of this. They didn't take into account that sentence is just so much nonsense to me. And that was another reason I didn't want to make the video. I was just so mad about that singular sentence. Like, we didn't know this was going to do anything. But now they're giving you a different avenue of obtaining, legendaries and they're making it specific. Right? So, like, I thought that experiment coins, so they were slowly fixing, now that they moved everything, to needing copies of everything. With experiment coins, you just weren't getting enough experiment coins, and then the drop rate was so ridiculously low that you needed to expel even more experiment coins than what you could even obtain. So they fixed both of those problems by making the percentage of getting it higher. And then they started giving you more and more ways of getting experiment coins, including getting rid of the star coins that they don't even know what to do with in Random League and giving you experiment coins instead. So all of those changes were a step in the right direction. And then but the thing about it was still the idea that you don't have the ability to specifically, if you wanted to upgrade one specific unit, you can't. It would still take you forever. Obtaining 14 copies, and then obtaining 16 copies to go from 13 to 14 and then 14 to 15 is just an insane amount of copies, right? And especially if you're using experiment coins and as basically your only avenue of like focusing down one specific unit, the best way to do it is experiment coins, and that's random. And it's just not guaranteed. And they decided to give you what they are now calling the Glutton Chest. And that is essentially what this post is about. Essentially, and what's funny is I read through like a lot of the 329 comments about what even is this thing. Essentially, the Glutton Chest is going to open during the season pass, probably on a paid side, I would assume. And essentially what you're doing is you're feeding the Glutton Chest one legendary for your choice of two legendaries, of one of two legendaries. There's a lot of weird wording in this, and a lot of people thought that it was like giving one legendary and you get two legendaries, but no, you have the choice of two different legendaries. So you feed this a legendary and you essentially get a legendary. You can also spend faction cores, which I guess is good, because at a certain point you just don't need faction cores, or you're obtaining them at such a quick rate, and you aren't using them enough in order to upgrade like your legendaries and whatnot. You're not using them at a high enough rate for you to have as many faction cores as you have. And as an example, I'll show you my account here. But essentially, the only thing that giving faction cores, sacrificing faction cores will give you, is a third choice. So, when you sacrifice a legendary to the Glutton Chest, and this is you have to, I believe. So once you open the chest, you have to sacrifice a legendary. I don't know what happens if you don't have a legendary. Like, what if you don't have an extra legendary? I would assume that everybody has at least one extra legendary. But what if you only have enough legendaries that you want to keep? And is it going to force you? I don't know if it's going to force you to expel a legendary anyway because you opened the chest. But in terms of faction cores, I have upgraded literally everything that I can upgrade, and I have this many faction cores just from playing the game. I've literally upgraded every single common, epic, and rare. I've maxed out all of the talents. I've used up all the faction cores on everything that I possibly can, and this is my collection of faction cores. It's not the best usage of faction cores, but I guess it being in your inventory doing nothing is an even worse thing to do with faction cores, and just hoarding them for no specific reason other than to like eventually upgrade this guy to, when I get it to 13, to upgrade that to getting the 13 talent and then getting the 15 talent. And yes, they do cost a lot of faction cores, but you can easily make up for that if you are then guaranteed or you're then given more options to get specific things that you want. And that's what they're trying to do with this. Giving you an easy way to get rid of something and then potentially get something that you want. Obviously, you could spend faction cores into this and then get 3 things that you still don't want. Like maybe you sacrifice a Boreas and you get a Shaman and a Hex and a Demonologist as your choices, and you spent the faction cores and you got to this thing. And so it literally just gave you nothing. That's possible as well. And that's why I don't really have too many strong thoughts about this, because I know that is a possibility that could happen. The fact that it's random that's what it is. It's random, and you could just be gaining nothing from this. So they could be taking out a legendary option in the season pass. Like they could be taking away, giving you a legendary for you to specifically get something that you quote unquote want, but then it could still potentially give you something that you don't want, and it still doesn't work, and then you just gained nothing from it. Because then that just becomes another thing that you want to sacrifice to experiment coins, or to a laboratory of experiments, or to a second Glutton Chest. We're gonna have to see like how many Glutton Chests are gonna be in the season pass. If it's just gonna be the one, if it's gonna be replacing multiple like regular just straight up legendaries that they would normally give you. I think it's something. I have even less thoughts on this thing. This is the thing that just dropped today, and this is Magic Orbs. So if you didn't think that the Rush Royale had enough currencies, here's another currency. So essentially what they're doing is they understand that going from 11 to 12, 12 to 13, 13 to 14, 14 to 15, it's a lot of legendaries. It's a lot of duplicates. And instead of giving us Book of Secrets back, they're instead giving us Magic Orb. Magic Orbs. And essentially what Magic Orb does is you are required, that is not a if, it's not a Book of Secrets if I read this right, you were required from 11 to 15, you were required to get, to have a Magic Orb, and it's going to reduce the cost of the insane cost that they came up with. So currently in the game, it's an insane cost that everybody has agreed that it's an insane cost of duplicates. So they're like, okay, well, you can reduce that cost, and there's going to be a new cost with Magic Orbs. So now you need a Magic Orb. Magic Orb will be required for upgrading units starting with level 11. As in, you have to have it. As in, you cannot upgrade a thing from 11 to 12, 12 to 13, 13 to 14, and 14 to 15. That's correct. You heard me correct. 11, 12, 13, 14, you need 4 Magic Orbs to go from 11 to 12, 12 to 13, 13 to 14, and then 14 to 15. You need 4 Magic Orbs to max out a legendary unit. So yes, they will be reducing the cost of duplicates to whatever it is. Don't ask me. Again, another question that I cannot answer. They will be reducing the cost of duplicate units that you need, but now you need to obtain a Magic Orb. It's just a different kind of hoop that you now have to jump through. And depending on what they decide that the new 11 to 12, 12 to 13, 13 to 14, 14 to 15, depending on what those new requirements are going to be determined on how useful is this. In terms of where are you getting 4 Magic Orbs to upgrade a unit from 11 to 15, in the Legend Store, which is good because that just gives you an actual other reason to get to 7K trophies. That's the Division Store. In the Seasonal Store, so I assume when they implement rune keys again, you will be able to theoretically buy a Magic Orb. As a possible result of conducting experiments. I don't know how I feel about that one. I don't know how I feel about you doing the spins on experiment in laboratory of experiments, maybe getting like 5 wrong ones, and then all of a sudden for your guaranteed one, you get a magic orb that you may or may not even be able to use. And then you have to restart the cycle again. That's a strange way of implementing it. I mean, it's technically a free way of implementing it, but you're also expelling a legendary in order to get a magic orb that you may or may not even be able to use. You will eventually have to use them because, like I said, now you are required to go to use a magic orb from 11, 12, 13, 14, and then 14 to 15. But I mean, like, I don't know about that. And then in the Glutton Chest, if a legendary unit of level 10 is present. So assuming that you spin the Glutton Chest and you have the ability to trade for a thing that you already have at 10 at 10 plus, you could presumably get a magic orb or a copy of the unit, or are they? No, the amount of card copies will be reduced. I was like, or maybe are they saying that you only need a that would have been too good. That would have been too amazing. Part of me, when I read the Glutton Chest thing, part of me was like, wait a second. Is it just a magic orb to upgrade from 11 to 15? Like, do you not even need copies anymore? But you do need copies. At the same time, the amount of card copies needed for this will be reduced. I don't know. The idea that it's less than the amount of card copies that currently exists in the game, I suppose is good. But now just needing a secondary thing, now needing to farm a different thing, as well as the continued farming of just regular copies. I mean, I'll tell you what, like, I'm telling you, I'm not going to upgrade this witch until this thing comes out. Because if I can get free legendaries off of this, like, if they reduce this, to go from 14 to 15, if they reduce it to, like, I don't know, 12 copies, and I just get 4 free witch copies that I can then sacrifice to other things, that would be pretty cool. I think that since most people are getting to Division 7, or the Division 7 is 3,000. Oh, are they saying that you can only get it from the Legend store? In the Legend store, starting with Division 7. So they're forcing people to get to 3k crit to make their game more difficult, in order to obtain this in the Legend store. That seems like a dick move. I mean, like, I'm already there, but that seems like a dick move because I'm definitely encouraging people to not upgrade their crit. And now they're saying, well, if you want to get a magic orb easier, upgrade your crit. I don't know. I mean, like, I'm already there, so I don't care. But, like, for all you people, like, getting to 7k trophies thinking that you can get this, sorry. You need to have 3k crit and make the game more difficult for yourself in order to just straight up buy a magic orb. I don't know. I think that it's just like when they went from crystals and copies to the system that we have now, which is just copies. I think that it's just a different system. It's just the new way of doing things, and this doesn't actually fix the problem that I actually have with the game. It has nothing to do with the problem I actually have with the game, but this is just the new upgrade system, and I don't necessarily feel great or bad about it. It's just different. It's exactly like the 26.0 change, going from crystals to what we have now of just duplicate copies. They're trying to make it easier, and it feels like they're just going back to the old system, but with different steps. Like, I think they're going to re-implement. There's a big part of me that thinks they're going to re-implement Star Coins as the new Book of Secrets. Like this, I talked about it in a different video where I think that they're going to make Star Coins like, because Star Coins only upgrade to level 9. And And so, but what if you had like 3 star coins and it becomes a super star coin so that you can upgrade from 10, 11, 12. And then you have a mega star coin if you combine 2 super star coins. And then you have a thing that can upgrade from 13, 14, 15. There's a part of me that like, and they're just basically giving you back Book of Secrets, but in like a different way. That's how this feels. It just feels like extra steps. And I don't necessarily know if it's going to be easier or harder, or if it's just going to be different. But yeah, that's basically why I didn't want to talk about it, like a long time ago when they first announced this post. Because I don't know how this is going to feel when it's in the game. But because they have now talked about enough of this, I thought that I would make an update video about it and talk about like how everything works and my initial thoughts on all of this is. Obviously, there's going to be another post, and it's obviously going to talk about rune keys. Those are their 3 bullet points right here. And that, like I said, until they talk about rune keys, it's not going to come out tomorrow, you know? It's not going to come out today, because they haven't talked about rune keys yet. So then they'll talk about rune keys, and then you can probably expect the update to drop, to the 26.2 update to drop with all of this, in the next coming days after whenever they announce, whenever they make a post about rune keys. But yeah, that's it. I'll catch you guys next video.